Bishop Curry, it's good to have you on the program. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Your address at the royal wedding attracted enormous global attention. What sort of impact has that had on your life?
Well, it's been wonderful in many respects. Everyone has been very gracious and kind, and I find myself doing wonderful interviews with wonderful folk like you. And I've probably taken more selfies than I had, including selfies on the airplane flying back from London to New York.
You spoke extensively about love on that day, and on that day people were thinking a lot about romantic love. But when you use the word love, what do you think of it meaning?
Well, romantic love is part of it, even in the New Testament, there are at least 3 Greek words that are used for love, in the Greek New Testament, rather, eros, philia, and agape. The nuances of the kinds of love can be found in those words. And so eros is the word that tends to be more for the love that leans in the direction of the romantic between a couple. Philia is typically the love of friendship, of close friends. And then agape is the one that tends to be used the most, but not all 3 are there. And agape is unselfish, sacrificial love that really does seek to discern the good and the welfare of the other, even before one's own self-interest sometimes. That's the kind of love that Jesus was talking about when he said, greater love has no one but to give up their life for their friends. And so that's the deeper kind of love that actually makes a profound difference in the world.
Do you see much emphasis on that kind of love in Donald Trump's America?
Well, I think the emphasis is going to come from Christian folk and religious folk who reclaim, who really are intentional about reclaiming the deep roots of the Christian faith. You know, for me, this way of love, unselfish, sacrificial, this way of love really is the key to healthy relationships, to a healthy society and a healthy global community. The way of selfishness doesn't work. It may work for a little while, but it doesn't work in the long run.
Will a society have an emphasis on that kind of love if you don't see it modelled by people in leadership and people in positions of power?
Well, I think, you know, the truth is for Christianity, I just use Christianity as an example, the Christian message of love in the earliest days, in the first centuries and soon after that, actually spread without the legitimization of the Roman Empire. It wasn't until, the 4th or 5th century, the Emperor Constantine, that Christianity had some official status. But long before that, Christianity actually was spreading as a message of love, as a way of life, a way of love, without official sanction from anybody higher up. Actually, in the earliest days of Christianity, it was a movement that spread among women, children, slaves, and the very wealthy. It was a strange mixture of people, because that's what love does. It brings people together of profound difference, and it's not dependent on being blessed from on high.
If you had to nominate one issue, what do you think is the biggest problem facing the world today?
Let me tell you what I think is behind, because there would be a number of issues. I really believe that the essence of our struggle can be found, as a human family, can be found in any form of unbridled selfishness. We have got to find a way to live together and for each other. And that's why I believe that the way of love is the way that does that. I mean, this isn't really a sentimental thing that I'm talking about. This is really an intentional way of living, of unselfish living. And that will have consequences and impact on a whole host of issues, whether it's wars between nations, whether it is tribal conflicts, whether it is conflicts within countries, whether it is the extent of poverty in our global community, whether it is care for this environment in which we live, whether it is for means of justice and goodness and kindness in our social lives, and compassion and kindness in our interpersonal lives. Every one of those issues at the root of the cause of the problem is unbridled selfishness, which is what our religious traditions have actually meant by the word sin. That's actually what we're really talking about. This kind of selfishness where I am the center of the universe and everybody else, including God, is on the periphery. And that doesn't work. We have to live together. And if we live together, we actually can make a better world. If I didn't believe that, I wouldn't be doing this.
Well, it's been a pleasure to talk to you, Bishop Curry. Thanks again.
Thank you. God bless you.